Tonight's big story, Senate President Mig Zubiri is on the defensive once more over the Maharlika Investment Fund amid accusations the bill being sent to the president has been tampered with.
Love it or hate it, the Philippines has a new tourism brand. We'll speak to DOT Undersecretary Elaine Bathan about this new slogan and their plans to capture a share of revenge travel in Asia.
And what's this? Iconic trio Tito, Vic, and Joey and some members of the Dabarkads may sumbong daw sa Raffy Tulfo in action.
Welcome to the show. I'm Regina Lay.
I'm Gretchen Ho.
And I'm Sean Yao.
Well, right into it, and things are heating up once more in the upper chamber of Congress. Senate President Mig Zubiri has denied tampering with the Maharlika investment bill after he was accused of signing a version allegedly different from the one that was approved by Congress. Zubiri signed the final version of the Maharlika bill in Washington, D.C. last week, or that's weeks after both houses of Congress approved it on final reading. The bill was not immediately sent to Malacanang after lawmakers found out that it had two different provisions on the prescriptive period for crimes. Zubiri said this was an honest oversight by the Secretariat and the staff of Senator Mark Villar, the sponsor. Now, the version he signed in Washington already carried the correct prescriptive period, something that Senator Coco Pimentel said should have gone through plenary approval again. But Zubiri insisted that it doesn't count as tampering.
We just reflected the true intention of the provisions as reflected on the transcript of records. There was no malice or intent or ill intent to tamper, as they saying, or amend the measure. As long as it is not an enrolled bill, when you say subject to style.
Meanwhile, Zubiri also said that he is not worried about rumors of a coup or just a move to oust him as Senate President. He said that he already spoke to Senator Jinggoy Estrada, who would allegedly be the one to replace him. Furthermore, Zubiri added that no senator has approached him to express their discontent with his leadership.
Alam mo, pag may break, gano'n naman talagang pag-usap-usapan eh. And I got Senator Jinggoy, my dear friend. Alam mo, isa sa mga bumisita sa kanya nung naka-incarcerate siya dun sa Camp Crame. My dear friend, and I have spoken already, sabi niya wala naman siyang plano. Wala naman siyang planong tumakbo. Hindi niya alam kung saan galing yung balitang yun. And so, as again, I said, I serve at the pleasure of my colleague.
President Bongbong Marcos' first year in office is just about done. That's tomorrow, June 30. Taking a look back, girls, what are your takeaways from PBBM's first year?
The big takeaway for me is that it has not been an easy year for him. I mean, he inherited an economy that was not even out of COVID yet at that time. So we're talking about, obviously, 14-year high inflation. We're talking about high unemployment. We're talking about all these economic problems, right?
That's right. And then he actually, I think, did a pretty brave step and appointed himself as Agriculture Secretary. Ang hirap nun,
Tall order, for sure, right?
And for you to volunteer for that, that's a big thing. And of course, the sector, even after he appointed himself, Onion Gate, Garlic Gate, Sugar Gate, ASF, right? Ang dami talaga.
Ang daming problems. So that's the takeaway. Ang daming problems over the past 12 months.
But because of a challenging year in the past, that also gave him the highest GDP growth in several decades. And sinasabi dito na, tourist arrivals are also gaining a lot of traction, and we're seeing growth in the economy. But we're coming off from a low base.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're not seeing the complete picture yet after his first year in office. Sabi
So
naman
next
niya,
year pa
Good
yun.
to point that out.
Yeah.
sabi naman niya kanina, incomplete naman daw talaga
Yung scorecard.
yung grade
Yung grade.
niya.
In fairness, hindi niya sinabi, for effort. Ang grade ko sa sarili ko, di ba?
Meanwhile, President Marcos says he has no objection to how one economist graded his performance as incomplete, as we mentioned. The president and concurrent agriculture chief said a lot still has to be done about the farming sector and the rise in commodity prices. Inflation has since started to slow down this year after a series of price hikes last year in some basic items like onions and sugar.
I agree with him. We are not yet done. There are many, many things that we still need to do. We are still fighting with inflation. talagang yan, isa pa rin yan ang pinakamalaking problema na hinaharap natin.
President Marcos also made quite a splash in foreign affairs and on his first year in the job. I mean, he has traveled a lot more over the past 12 months. But a more recent matter, though, is the question of whether the Philippines will accept the request to house Afghan nationals. Let's bring in Julie Baiza for more updates on that. Julie, what do you have?
Reg, President Marcos said they're still studying the request from the United States for the Philippines to take in Afghan nationals, so there's no deal yet. In his own words, President Marcos said they're still looking for a way to do it without compromising national security. Aside from the security aspect, President Marcos said there's the legal and logistical issue to consider. He said that while the Philippines has hosted refugees before, this request from the US is a new one altogether since it involves Afghan nationals awaiting their special immigration visas. So there's a need to really hammer out the legalities and specific details of this request before the Philippines pushes through. Reg?
Thanks for that update, Julie Baiza.
Well, here's a little bit of good news. The minimum wage increase in Metro Manila is set to climb to 610 pesos from the current 570 pesos. The NCR Wage Board has approved a minimum wage hike of 7% or 40 pesos for workers in private establishments. Stay tuned to us here on One News for more updates on that. For now, a quick break, but right after that, is the 49 million peso budget spent for the development of the government's latest tourism campaign, Love the Philippines, justifiable? We'll discuss that further when the big story returns. Keep it here.
You're also watching the big story here on One News. Love the Philippines. Is that worth 49 million pesos? Well, that's how much the Department of Tourism reportedly spent to develop the slogan Love the Philippines. Tourism Chief Cristina Frasco said the budget was used to come up with a new logo, conduct a market research, and other components of the tourism campaign. The new tourism slogan has been met with mixed reactions as it replaces It's More Fun in the Philippines, which was launched back in 2012. The DOT was given 3.5 billion pesos under the national budget this year, while around 6 billion pesos has been allocated for projects aimed at promoting the Philippines as a tourism hub.
Right. So now you're seeing the video. Ay, hindi. Ako lang pala yung nakakita ng video. Pwede mo natin i-roll yung video?
Gusto ko malaman kung ano yung composition ng budget na 49 million pesos. Kasi I'm a producer, so I kind of know what goes into the film. Parang medyo sobra-sobra yun eh.
I don't think it's just the film, Gresh. First of all, you have to contract an agency, di ba?
Tama.
Tapos mahaba yan.
It's a long process, a creative process, yeah.
That's
Long
true,
process.
but still 49 million.
Kasama pa doon yung event launch nila.
TVC nga, hindi nga
yeah.
umaabot necessarily ng ano eh.
But they also have to air this
Yeah.
campaign. It's also going to go, I think, on social media.
Correct.
Although
There
if we
could be
compare-
distribution worked into that.
If we
don't know
compare
yet.
it to the previous budget, it's 10 times more, right? So I think it's crucial to know what went into that budget, what's included.
All right, so I think we will find out right now, don't we?
We'll find out later.
We are
Later?
trying to get the Undersecretary for Tourism on the line, but we seem to be running into technical issues. So we're going to pause for a quick break for now. But up next, countdown begins for the return of Tito, Vic, and Joey and the rest of the legit Dabarkads this Saturday. We'll find out what the Noontime Group is up to when the big story returns. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are still watching The Big Story here on One News.
Preparations are go, go, go for the highly anticipated return to television of TVJ, which is just 2 sleeps away. Kaso eto nga, no, after nung blessing nila sa studio this morning, dumiretso agad ang grupo sa Wanted sa radyo ni Senator Raffy Tulfo kasi meron daw silang idudulog kay Idol Raffy.
Magandang hapon sa inyo. Jowa Pao, Jose, Wally, and Paulo.
Magandang hapon po, Sir Raffy. Natatakot po talaga kami pero hindi naman po kami nagkaroon ng takot nung kayo na pong harap dahil alam po namin maaayos niyo po ito. Hindi nga po namin alam na walan po kami ng trabaho kasi wala naman talaga kami trabaho. Wala naman tayong trabaho. Bakit mawawalan tayo ng trabaho?
Ba't pa naghahanap?
Ang angkal ko po nawalan po ng respeto itong mga to. Ito po yung mga sikat sa social media po ito eh.
Okay.
Kaya lang contempt creator po yan.
Contempt.
Oh, contempt.
Hindi content.
Kaya ang unang sumbong nito, Idol, wala raw silang sweldo.
Oh.
Hindi raw sila sumisweldo. Paano si sweldo? Wala naman trabaho.
Yan ang pinakamagandang trabaho. Wala kang trabaho pero hindi mo sa sweldo. Oo nga naman, parang nakakalito ata yun.
At syempre, Senator Raffy had to ask them about their comeback this Saturday.
Bukod po sa TVJ and Wow Mali, so ano pa pong mga ibang shows na dadalhin nyo sa TV5?
Maraming mga pinag-uusapan, pinaplano. Pero unahin na muna natin itong TVJ sa TV5, sama Legit Dabarkads. At pag nakasettle na tayo, ayan na, sunod-sunod na ang iba pang mga programa dito sa TV5.
Sa madaling salita, mabubulaga sila.
Well, tuloy na natin yung usapan na yan. But this time on The Big Story, since we are 3 girls, we also have girls with us today here to tell us
Girl
more about
power.
what we can expect from their new show on Saturday. We have with us in the studio, Legit Dabarkads, Riza May Dizon and Karen Aishuk. Good evening! Welcome!
Good evening.
Good evening po sa
Wait,
aming mga
unang-una, kamusta naman kayo? Kasi nag-rehearsal kayo, first day today. How has it been, going around the halls of TV5 para sa inyo?
You know po, we are very excited kasi 2 days left na lang po and then it's already July 1. So, abangan nyo na lang po mga Dabbercats sa aming mga pasabog this July 1, 11:30 a.m. po yan.
Yung talagang pasabog yan Yung
Pasabog.
talagang gulat talaga kami, promise.
Opo, magugulat po talaga
Madami
kayo
dito
lahat
pasabog.
Si Raisa, okay, saan pasabog mo?
Madami pong hinahanda ang legit Dabbercats and ang TVJ para sa lahat ng mga legit Dabbercats na nakatutok. Kaya kahit po kami habang nagre-rehearse, sobrang excited na rin po.
Raisa, lumaki ka sa show. Karen, ikaw
Slight
medyo
po.
fairly mas bago kang sumali, di ba?
Yes.
Nanalo
This
siya
year na.
sa contest
Opo,
within the show.
Be the Next. I won nung February 4 po, this year. So, baguhan lang po ako sa industry ngayon.
Hindi, pero at least nakalipat ka na, di ba?
Oo
How
nga
does it
po.
feel na, parang kakasali mo lang, tapos biglang after ilang months, biglang
Lilipat ka
shake
na.
up, lipat
Yeah.
na agad.
Bagong studio, bagong pamilya, bagong magkakapatid,
Bagong pangalan.
Everything's new.
Ayun nga po, ang daming nangyayari, no? Kasi I first started hosting on the show nung February pa lang po. So I was very overwhelmed with what's happening. Pero I'm very happy now kasi we found our new home, which is TV5. And I'm very happy din po kasi I'm with TVJ now. And pinili ko din po kasi yung TVJ kasi I know that's where I'm gonna be happy.
Tinanong ba kayo kung saan kayo, kung magstay ba kayo, alis? Tinanong kayo.
Hindi po kasi, basta po kung nasan yung TVJ,
ganun.
nandun po,
Basta
doon
sinabi
po kami.
niyo ganun.
So automatic na kung saan
Opo.
sila
Loyal
you
kayo
follow.
sa-
Loyal po kami
That's
sa
what they
kanya.
said nga parang pamilya na talaga kayo, right? So give your fans a sense of how hard you've been practicing. Like ilang araw na, ilang oras in a day. Ano yan, 12 hours a day ba kayo nag-rehearse?
Actually, kasi nakwento sa akin, before a show, madalas 1 day before sila nagre-rehearse.
Ayan, opo.
Ngayon,
Ganun po talaga.
mukhang 2 days.
2 days
to
before.
2.5 days.
So, ang haba.
So, medyo, kasi, alam mo naman, medyo spontaneous sila
Right.
sa Itbulaga. But, yun nga, parang siguro, gaano kahirap itong opening para sa inyo kanina, yung rehearsal ninyo.
Opo. Ito po kasi dahil po bago talaga
New
dito July 1,
environment.
opo. And may bago rin po kaming stage kaya kailangan po talaga todo po yung rehearse
Rehearsal
and
kasi may mga
practice.
blockings
Opo,
and then
yung
with
mga-
everything that's happening. So, dapat po talaga rehearse para maayos po
Opo.
yung
Okay.
show namin.
Raisa, tatanong kita, kasi medyo matagal-tagal ka nang nasa with TVJ, di ba? Ano yung, kumbaga, pinaka-excited ka na change? At saka ano yung parang favorite part mo na hindi mawawala sa show without, making booking? Anong magyayari sa Sabado?
Hello!
Alam mo, yung nanonood
Ano
mo.
lang po, ang masasabi ko lang po talaga, tuloy po yung isang libot, isang tuwa. At mas madadagdagan pa po ng legit Dabbercats and ng TV.
So, maging 2,000 at 2
Opo.
tuwa.
Mas
Mas
masaya.
marami pa
Mas
po.
masaya.
Opo, basta abangan nyo
Pwede
na
ka
lang po.
sumali, no?
July 1. Abangan.
Audition
Baka
ako.
pwede kami mag-guest.
But actually, that reminds me, can they use the song? Do we know? Hindi, no? You have to start a new jingle.
Mukhang tatanungin natin kay Tulfo yun. Doon sa
okay.
Mukhang ayaw nila magsalita. So, mukhang may kailangan tayong abangan.
Hindi, pero siguro because both of you are very, very young, you have your future ahead of you, you're in TV5, maraming posibilidad dito. Anong mga nilook forward nyong gawin? Mga pangarap ninyong makasama, magawa, sa mga career ninyo? Ikaw, Raisa May.
Ang pangarap ko po talaga yung maging parang katulad niyo po.
Ay, gusto mo? Totoo.
Gusto ko nga po dyan din po sana po.
Ay, palit tayo.
Mag-switch nga kayo.
Kayo na lang. Kailangan tumayo.
Hindi naalala ko yung anak mo kahapon. Ang cute eh.
Hindi, ayun nga
talaga.
po. Kami po very excited din po kami dito sa aming bagong tahanan and nagdadasal lang po kami sa lahat ng mangyayari dito.
With more opportunities po.
Yes.
Ikaw, anong pangarap
Oo nga,
mo?
Karen, ikaw, you said relative newcomer ka to showbiz, to the whole industry, and that you sing. Right?
Yes,
So, would you like
Hindi
to
ko
sing
pinaniniwala.
more? Would you like to go into acting?
Kakanta ko ngayon. Joke lang.
Sure!
Hello, it's a prank lang.
Hindi kami pwede sa fake news dito. Doon lang kami
Yes,
sa
legit lang.
Kumanta ka.
Naghahantay pa kami Karen. One line lang.
Yeah.
Galing!
Wala akong maisip eh.
Ayan, okay. Tinan mo.
Di bali, abangan na lang natin. Welcome dito sa TV5 sa Kapatid Network. And you have us 3 as your ates.
Yes.
So, mas malaking pamilya, mas maraming kapatid.
Right?
Sana,
And as they keep saying, 2 tulog na lang. July 1 na.
July 1.
See you po.
Thank you so much for joining us. Our legit Dabbercats, Raisa May Dizon and Karen Aistrup.
Now, we have to go back to a topic, our earlier topic, talking about the Love the Philippines slogan. And joining us live tonight to talk about this new tourism slogan is Tourism Undersecretary Attorney Elaine Bathan. Yusek Bathan, thanks so much for joining us tonight. So much has been said about this new tourism slogan, which in a way is good, right? Because it's generated a lot of conversations. But I wanted to take a step back and ask you, how did you come up with this, or how did you get to this point of deciding that the new slogan will be Love the Philippines? Talk us through the creative process, please.
Well, first of all, good evening to all of you, and thank you for having us. Thank you for allowing us and giving us the opportunity to further educate everybody on how we were able to come up with this enhanced branding campaign for the Department of Tourism and for the entire country. This did not happen overnight, despite us saying that love is a very simple word, but it is universal, and it is a product of market research, social listening, us trying to study extensively our competition, our markets, our travelers, our customers, our foreign travelers, and our domestic travelers as well, and the key markets that we have, and trying to determine which word really resonates, which word really tops the charts more than the fun, more than the other words. And it has really been love. We've tried to do the listening tours that's being done by the secretary at the time. She sat down as Secretary of Tourism, Secretary Cristina Garcia Frasco, did the listening tours from all over the Philippines and abroad to listen to every stakeholder's concern, and as well as the market research that we have been doing in order to come to this tagline and enhanced logo for the DOT, which is Love the Philippines.
And so how long did this process take? Would you say a year, 10 months, 6 months? How long?
Looking into from the time that we have been in office, and then the secretary was appointed by President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr., it took a year. And then we've also bidded it out this year to see. And the agency did the study and the research to know what would be the best way moving forward after we have reopened our markets.
Right, there has been this interesting iteration that has emerged on social media. A lot of armchair branding experts and have said, what about putting a comma after love and making it, sound like a nostalgic postcard kind of thing? Would you be open, since you already crowdsourced and did social listening to come up with this campaign? Would you be open to twisting it, for example, so that it can be used in many other ways?
Yes, moving forward, we can have several iterations. This is part of the big idea on how we would want to promote the Philippines. Love the Philippines, and it can come in several forms depending on who is trying to market it and who our audience will be, and we're very open to suggestions, and we're also open to how it can be interpreted and in the best manner by which we can be able to resonate what we would want to say to the world, the message that we would want to come across, and that is to love the Philippines.
Attorney, kanina nga po, pinag-uusapan po namin yung budget po behind this campaign, 49 million pesos. Can you, tell us what exactly is part of that budget?
Well, part of the budget is foremost the market study and the market research to determine whether we will retain, we will change totally, or whether it would be proper to enhance. Next would be part of the project is to determine the tagline as well as the logo, the conceptualization, as well as the presentation. Part of that is also the creation of the brand guidebook, as well as there is also a component of creating the ad campaign, which we will be using initially the moment we launch the campaign. Part of that also is the rollout of of the branding campaign as well, along with the placements that will come after we have launched these logos.
Right, Elaine, of course, Secretary Frasco has said that this whole pitch, this whole new launch, one of her goals is, of course, to get that share of revenge travel, especially amongst our very aggressive ASEAN neighbors. We have Vietnam, we have Thailand, and we all know their infrastructure. It's clipping along at a much faster pace compared to us. Senator Grace Poe earlier said she hopes that yun nga, mapantayan natin. At least pag sinabi yung love, wala daw cringeworthy experiences on the ground. What are the plans in terms of tourism infrastructure when NAIA is, a cluttered mess at the moment?
Well, it's really a whole of government approach. That's what we are currently doing. That's what the secretary has really been doing for her term, coordinating and collaborating with the different government agencies that do handle our tourists. Whose part of their mandate involves the tourism frontline services as well. These are the airports. These are the immigration under the Department of Justice, the airports under the Department of Transportation. We even have the Bureau of Quarantine under the Department of Health. DTI is also there to help us with our small and medium scale enterprises that also involve our tourism stakeholders. Like I said, it's a whole of government approach by which we would also want them to join us and be with us as we roll out this this tagline, Love the Philippines. And part of loving the country, part of loving the Philippines is ensuring that our frontline services for each of our departments are really at par, and will also ensure that our markets, our travelers, our tourists, whether domestic or foreign travelers, will have a Philippine and a Filipino experience from the point of entry, and at our gateways, they will already feel the love. And so we hope that with this enhanced branding campaign that we have, all the improvements from other departments will also follow suit.
I've also heard it said that Love the Philippines, the new slogan, speaks to a more domestic audience. What sort of reception do you expect from the foreign tourism market, or have you gotten any feedback about it internationally?
Okay, part of the study that was conducted was the behavior of the traveler, and we've come across the term the changed traveler. A changed traveler does not necessarily pertain to those within the domestic sphere of our country, but this pertains to the entire behavior of any traveler at that. Everybody, it was not just in the Philippines, everybody experienced the lockdown for 2 to 3 years. And with that, the behavior of the traveler has changed. We have come to know that more than the sights, more than the sightseeings, than the adventures, the changed traveler wants the travel to be more insightful, experiential, and they would want to be immersed with the culture and the people for and the place for which they would go to. And that does not pertain only to those at the domestic level. That pertains even to foreigners. And that's what we are banking so much on, no less than the president has said that one of the assets of our country is our people. We boast of our warmth, not just of our smile, but also of our hospitality. And that's one thing that we would want for our foreign travelers to come and see and experience. And when they do, they will find reasons to love the Philippines.
Here's hoping, right? All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for joining us, DOT Undersecretary Attorney Elaine Bathan.
And we have gone over time just like that. That's it for the show tonight.
Your One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for tuning in, and good night.